Belchertown's current fiscal position. Number one, last year, preparing for fiscal year 26, Belchertown was faced with several difficult financial decisions. As a result, the community chose to look at the options of raising new revenues with an override. At an annual election held May 19, 2025, Belchertown passed an override adding an additional nearly $2.9 million and approved those funds at the following annual town meeting. Number two, as fiscal year 26 began, Belchertown and many surrounding communities experienced significant unplanned increases in employee health care costs. As a result of the decision, our communities managers made, we were able to meet the new health care expenses that rose over 40% without losing critical services elsewhere. Number three, moving into fiscal year 27, we are again facing budget stresses that will result in a disciplined approach to future spending. Between fiscal year 25 and fiscal year 26, our revenues rose from $62.1 million to $67.25 million. This has put Belchertown in a great starting position. Of this increase, the school department's allocation changed from $33.2 million in fiscal year 25 to $35.5 million in fiscal year 26, which is the current fiscal year. Fiscal year 27 challenges. One, we are expecting to see challenges with state and federal aid keeping up with needs. This will be especially the case with Chapter 70 funding. Number two, as a result, our affected departments will have challenges entering fiscal year 27. And positioning for fiscal year 27. One, Belchertown has positioned itself to enter the next fiscal year with advantages. The Belchertown School Department is consolidating and removing a facility. The same building is now leased to Pathfinder Regional Vocational High School. The Belchertown School District is also in discussions with Pathfinder to add curriculum that will help limit Belchertown's need to pay sending tuition to other districts for these same programs. Number two, Belchertown's Capital Improvement Planning Committee is in their second year making critical decisions as to how our community will reinvest our tax dollars. This is a very disciplined process in which every capital project purchase is vetted and prioritized per the capital improvement planning policy. These meetings and the processes are open to the public. Three, Belchertown is looking to include formal multi-year strategic planning as part of the budget process moving forward. Anyone paying attention to the local media is certainly aware of our neighboring communities struggling to find a financial path forward into 2027 as their fiscal situations are in critical condition. Belchertown addressed the same issue last year, and this has put us in the best starting position we have seen in years. The financial management of our community has been excellent, and our town departments are all on the same page. Our bond rating remains very strong, putting us in a great position to make decisions on future investment.
Nice shiny star.
Doesn't mean it's going to be easy though.
Do you have anything else, or can I?
No,
okay. We have our very own Jill, our town accountant and town manager, who
I'll give it a quick overview.
Go through the town budgets, free cash policy, and budget process.
Great, thank you. I just want to welcome everybody here tonight. We have the Finance Committee, the school, a couple of members of the school committee, the school superintendent, principal at Jabesh Brook Middle School, and their business manager as well. And you know, for all the people who tuned in tonight, a very important part of what Belchertown does, the government does. I appreciate you being here and welcome. I apologize now for my voice. I've been dealing with some laryngitis for a couple of weeks now. I promised not to talk to anybody today, so I'm going to do my best.
I have cough drops.
Yeah, it's the same here. So yeah, I probably should have invested in you know, the cough drop company before I came down with this. But anyways, Jill is going to give a little bit more of a detailed presentation, but I just wanted to give a quick overview on how we calculate the budget and how we got here tonight. And essentially what we did is we took last year's budget. We looked at the revenue, the expenses, and then we looked at what was available for funding this year over and above what we had last year. So that would include new growth, taxation from any new construction. That's outside of our levy limit, so that's an adder. We look at our tax levy and we follow the guidelines from the state, the Proposition 2.5, and we increased that tax levy by 2.5%. That doesn't mean people's tax bills automatically go up 2.5%. There's all kinds of different changes that go into that with reassessments, and the total tax levy is increased by 2.5%. So your individual tax bill could be different. So I want to stress that as well. And then we add in free cash. Joe and I and members of the Select Board and Finance Committee informally, that hasn't been finalized yet, are using a number of 50-50 on the free cash. Last year, if you recall, we were at 60-40, with 40% going to stabilization, OPEB, and capital. So there was an intent, I believe, to go to 40-60 to reverse the number, add another 20% to our three categories. Well, with everything that has gone on this year, 10% made a little more sense. So for your consideration tonight, we are using 50-50 in our budget analysis. And then, of course, we have the state budget. Those numbers came out last week. We have the Capital Improvement Planning Committee trying to pull together a capital plan for the year. And we have all of our departments, including the school department, working on their budget. And this year it was a level service request.
And do we have somebody from the Capital Improvement Committee here?
It doesn't appear to be tonight. I know we had that on the agenda, but we might have pushed it off to the next meeting unless they're online. But anyhow, so that's how we reached the target. And then, it's my job to go back to all the department heads and ask for any place we can start shaving funding to meet the target. Because we know that we cannot have an unbalanced budget. Our spending has to equal what we have available. So that's the goal. That's the ultimate goal. A few things. An additional item that was not part of that new revenue is the excess capacity from last year's override. We had approximately $559,000 set aside for the firefighters, an ambulance lease, and the salary for the grant writer. That money has to be spent on those purposes. That's how it was voted. The Pathfinder number is not in. Right now, we are holding last year's number. There will be a budget presentation in March. I believe the invitations have gone out for the Select Board Finance Committee and I believe the school committee. In my conversations with the superintendent, it sounds like we could see savings this year. There's been a little bit of a downtick in enrollment. And I believe, I may not have this 100% accurate, but I believe that there's some student choice being factored into this now. We could see upwards to $80,000 reduction in our assessment this year. That doesn't mean we're going to have that next year, but at least for this budget season. We have not factored that in yet, simply because it's not official, and I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. So we have to stay tuned for that as well. And then the free cash, again, that was a 50-50 split. But in addition to that, we also have the repayment to the stabilization, 1/3 going back this year. So that's also coming off the top. So with that, unless there's questions, I'm going to let Jill go over the details of what I just presented to you.
Other questions?
And we have the colored sheet is up on the screen if anybody needs to view it there. And there's additional copies floating around if anybody wants them.
I just want to ask if there are questions from our other board members online. Okay, hearing none. Jill?
Okay, So you'll see that on the colored sheet in front of you, the annual town meeting budget from FY26 and the FY27 estimate that we're running with right now. So we'll have local receipts that will be up slightly. Our tax levy, if looking at this $40 million, includes the full override amount, as we'll be utilizing the funds for the firefighters, ambulance, and grant writer this year. It also encompasses $275,000 worth of new growth. That number can change. Hopefully, cherry sheet receipts are based, or the cherry sheet, all of the cherry sheet information throughout this form is based on the governor's budget that she released last week. That's also the governor's budget. Pioneer Valley Planning Commission and Quabbin Health District assessments. Quabbin Health District, we've added in like a 3% adder. Could be more, could be less. The allowance for abatements and exemptions at this time, we're level funding. Our other articles and Belchertown Cultural Council, are the 163.6.
What's other articles?
Other articles are the reserve fund, the assessor's law account, and cemetery lot development. So with that, we put this year, we've put in the override, the capital together in the mandatory charges. So the override plus the free cash, FC, I'm going to say finance committee, the free cash capital totals $885,128. So as I'm going through these numbers, those of you who have been around for a little bit are used to seeing more detail. There is the traditional income and expense is attached here. So the details are here. The details are here. Getting into that much of the weeds doesn't seem to need to be done, but anybody that has questions along the way is welcome to ask. Our reserves, we will be putting $286,093 into stabilization, and that does include the 1/3 of the funds that we voted at special town meeting towards health insurance. So that's a $1.946 million increase over last year's available revenue. In the expenditure budgets, we have public schools at $36,331,226, and please correct me if I'm mistaken on that number. I think that's what I received. Fixed costs will be $10,326,499, and town government departments budget requests came to $14,679,537 for a total of $61,337,262. This is a deficit of $414,000. I don't remember the last time that I've seen, it's going to sound sad, but this low of a deficit in our income and expense on the first round with all requests in and so on and so forth. So really we're in a pretty good position. I'm not sure, I think I will faint if it ever comes to pass that we have more money than what the requests are. But this is a pretty good start to our budget season. So Steve talked a little bit about the allocation. So if you take the increase in net available revenue of 1.946, we reduce it by the increase in fixed costs over last year, FY '26, or this current year, less the override that was not previously charged for fire, EMS, and grant manager. So that amount is set on public schools. Additional amount would be $571,598. Additional available for town government departments would be $244,971. So our target budgets are for Belchertown Public Schools, $36,115,951. And the town government departments would total $14,480,730. This results in required reductions from the requested amounts from the entire, all of the town departments. Belchertown Public Schools would need to cut $215,275, and the town's cuts would be $198,807.
Thank you.
Does anybody have, if anybody has questions?
Yeah, do you want to open it up? Other questions? Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. With that, do we want to go to the free cash policy? Or do you have anything to add? Or do you have anything to add for the town budget?
No, give me a second to pull up the free cash policy here.
Can I just ask a question? You can as a citizen.
Of course.
Okay. Can you just explain, so the less the override amount not previously charged, the $559,920, and then it's added back at the bottom? Can you just kind of review?
Added back in the, what?
That's for the firefighters.
Yeah. That's
Right, but
it.
it was
Oh, I
taken
see,
out,
yeah.
Taken out of
and
the
then it was
budget,
put
so
back
it's
in.
It's taken out of the additional available.
Okay.
It's because that's where those expenses lie.
Makes sense, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else? Okay. Steve, do you want to
Do it.
go over the?
Sure. Yeah, either or. So I'm just,
Before we do that,
Yeah.
can we go to the pages behind that? Is there anything in detail that is more of an increase than normal that we should just be aware of, or decrease?
As for incomes or everything?
All of it.
All
So
of it.
obviously we know, I don't see where the benefit, the health insurance is on here. I'm sure it's somewhere in there, obviously. We know
It's
that's a
under
big
fixed,
increase.
yes.
Yeah, but is there anything else that we should be aware of?
You know, you'll see public safety departments are up quite a bit, but it's also that 559,000 is mostly attributed to public safety.
Which page is that on?
The second page of the income and expense, where it's
Oh, yep.
allocatable
Okay.
expenses.
So that includes the 559?
Correct.
Anything else?
Everything else is pretty standard. Of course, we have 15% or 16% in health insurance, so you see that under pensions and insurance on line 45. We have brought forward the Pathfinder assessment. We have brought forward the Pathfinder assessment as it was last year because we don't have that number, which is pretty much my standard operating procedure because something needs to be there, so. As for, I'm just running through really quickly to how things are going in this fiscal year and the collections from the previous fiscal years to kind of get a vibe or an idea of how things are going in that specific area.
And Steve, when you emailed this earlier, you did this in Excel format so we can...
It's in Excel, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Steve?
All right, so we're gonna move on to the free cash distribution. As Jill mentioned earlier, our free cash was $1,418,350. We have an annual appropriation to the Finance Committee Reserve Fund of $125,000. A year one reimbursement to stabilization due to health insurance increases is $108,342, which leaves us a net balance of $1,185,008. 50% of that is $592. $592,504. Much bigger number. So if we break that down, that's what went to the annual operating budget. The other 50%, 65% of that's going to go to capital, which is $385,128. The total going to stabilization is $177,751. And 5% going to OPEB is $29,625. The current balance in stabilization,
I can't see that, but.
oh, I got cut off, hold on here.
It's on the sheet too.
Yeah, stabilization is $286,093.
That's the 125 plus the 177?
The 108.
The 108,
At the top
yep.
for the 1/3 plus the 177.
The reserve fund is different than stabilization.
Okay, can you talk about the 125, because I don't remember talking about that in the past. What is that again?
That was put in 3 years ago or 2 years ago.
2 years ago, when I was on the
So,
finance committee.
yeah, the finance committee carries a fund for unforeseen expenses, emergencies. We used that this year to cover, or a portion of it this year to cover health insurance. I think we took $50,000 out of it. So it's an emergency fund.
Okay, so that number's been there for like 3 years
Yes,
now.
yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
And it's still, in my eyes, still kind of low, because it used to be $50,000. And with costs going up with everything, that's still like a really low number. So
Was
there's like
it
a,
125 last year as well?
Well, it's 125 plus
30.
the base budget, which was 30, so it's 155 total. So every year,
What was 30?
we were budgeting $30,000 a year for the reserve fund. And the decision was made to add $125,000 off the top of free cash every year. So we're just carrying that through. So when you add the two together, which is, raise and appropriate 30,000 plus 125 in free cash, you end up with 155,000.
John, what do you think it should be?
it's hard to tell. I mean, if you need a heating system or a water line blows up or a sprinkler system blows up now, you're gonna eat through that budget tomorrow. I mean, it's low, but we just haven't had the funds to increase it. And the idea, and we put this,
That sounds
Roughly,
right.
that's
It's
about
like
right.
900 and something thousand.
Yeah.
Okay. So the 108 is paying back a third every year, but is that of the town's portion?
No, so if you remember, the school committee put money up.
Yep.
To cover both sides.
Right.
Not only their own, but town side.
Yep.
They also.
So that got us down to like 300 and something
We took money
thousand,
out of that
right?
reserve fund, we took money from some of our budgets, we got 100,000 from the overlay account, from the assessors, and we put all those pieces together, and the borrowing, if you will, from stabilization was in the tune of 325,000. 325, yeah,
Okay.
yep,
And this is year 1 of 3 years to
Right.
pay it back.
correct, yep.
Yeah. Anything else, Nicole?
The only other thing that I would have been interested to see is, because we haven't voted on the 50/50, we were supposed to go 60/40. I mean, I would have liked to have seen the difference there. Do we have those numbers?
I guess we could calculate it
If we
pretty
don't, we
quickly.
can get them.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we should assume it's gonna be 50-50. I mean, that, we've gotta vote on that.
It'd be 10%, so times
Yeah, so
59.
118,000.
Would be the difference.
500.
So that would have to come out of the town and school budgets, another impact.
At a 70-30 split, right?
Yeah, and I'm concerned about the 200,000 that I need to cut already. I think that
I get
would
it,
be
I wanna see it, I mean, it's
detrimental.
what we discussed that we were probably going to do, I just wanna see both stories, so if you can add that, that would be great.
Why not provide that? A little too much, and ultimately, that's going to hurt our residents.
Mhm.
Can we move forward?
Just one quick question. What does OPEB stand for?
I'm sorry.
On here it says OPEB.
Yes.
I don't know, what does that stand for?
It's other post-employment benefits, which is insurances and so on and so forth for retirees. That is, we have actuarials come in every year to tell us how much we should expect over X number of years to need to come up with, including, it's also including pensions.
Brian?
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate to people that I mentioned it at the school committee meeting, whatever. Due to snow days and stuff like that, I haven't had to be able to have a finance and budget subcommittee. So we're probably going to be returning some money back to you from health insurance. I just don't want to tell you the amount yet because I haven't spoken to the committee, and they may say no, blame it on them. Or they say yes, so just know there might be a change coming up on that. Because we've got
Do you want to add that to the next agenda, or do you want to wait?
I just have to, we don't,
We needed to stop snowing so we can.
I'm sorry.
We needed to stop snowing so we can.
I think we meet after vacation,
Okay,
so
all right,
I just need to finalize that.
that's great,
So-
thank you.
Yes, Joe.
Is that for this year's budget? Are you talking
Yes.
about
we-
Okay, any further comments about free cash for right now? Okay, do you want to talk about the budget process?
Sure, so just to remind the board and the people in attendance, back in September, we started working with our department heads to talk about capital. I will reach out to the Capital Improvement Planning Committee to see when,
I think Mike Hoffler is
Mike
in
is
there.
on.
yeah, I don't know if he was if he was going to present or if we were waiting for the chair. But if he's listening, he'll chime in.
Do you want to ask him, or is that him right there?
I am not prepared to
Okay,
make any kind of a statement on behalf of the committee at this time.
okay.
Okay,
I'm just here to listen in.
okay, thanks,
Perfect.
Mike.
So we will reschedule the presentation from the Capital Improvement Planning Committee, but I do understand that they are working on the FY '27 portion of the plan, as well as putting together information for the following 4 years. It's a 5-year plan. Department heads have also been working on their budgets. We have everything submitted, including the schools. We have all the numbers. Jill and I have already started meeting with department heads on the town side to start talking about where we can find the $200,000 that we need to cut. So that process will be ongoing for the next few weeks. And then some final decisions will be made on our end, and we'll report back with a balanced budget. And we'll let you know where those cuts came from, so you can have a full understanding of what to expect. And I would assume that the schools will start looking at their budgets, and we'll have some sort of an answer to the request to cut the 250.
And it's obvious that the dedication and sincere effort that's needed to do this is heir apparent. So thank you.
So I think we should, since majority of the committee members are here, we should be trying to pin down a date for another meeting. Doesn't have to be a Monday night, but certainly we should probably be thinking about sitting down in a
Well, we have
few weeks.
school committee.
Yeah, I was gonna, yeah, we were just talking budget process and then,
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I thought that once we got through capital improvement and the school committee, we could, since we're all here, could put our calendars together, but we're on a really
So,
good
yeah.
roll. Is that okay?
yep, so I think that would be the next thing, would be just to
We
set
should
up the
doodle
time.
poll it anyway.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, I
maybe.
don't think we should try
You
to
wanna
figure it out
do a
tonight.
poll? I
Let's,
don't care.
let's focus on the next item though, and that's the school committee budget presentation.
So I know you're not presenting, but if you want to talk about your budget at all, I do have your presentation for you.
Oh, okay.
So if there's anything you want
I
to...
didn't know we were presenting. I didn't realize this was the tri-board rescheduled, I just thought.
No, it was on the agenda.
It's just,
I just,
yeah, it's your opportunity to talk about your budget. Yeah.
It's all good.
So if you want to go through the slides, I guess,
We
Steve?
can, I mean, this is your opportunity.
Here so that people can hear me from home.
Yeah.
I will give up my seat for you.
To put you on the spot.
Put you on
We just wanted to make sure you had an opportunity to...
Yeah.
I would have made copies and stuff, but apparently everybody hasn't.
Just think we're saving money, if you just make coffee.
Oh, you just forgot
We
to
just
tell me.
saved you money.
All right, so as always, we start educator, so academic achievement, belonging, social emotional, resource management. So if you want to go to the next slide, Steve, if you don't mind. So this is just everyone we do, we identify, we implement, we evaluate, and we adjust, and then we do the resource management was our fourth one. We always do the total enrollment by grade. As you can see, we are going down to 1965 and 25, no, that was 25, 26, okay. If you go to the next slide, it shows, I believe, the Belchertown enrollment projections. So we put both the MSBA study, because that was done out of the district, and our study, and we've been in line with them. I think by FY31, their projected enrollment is 1853, ours is 1830. I think it's important to know that when MSBA did their enrollment projection, they said it was going to level off at FY28.
Right, and then what did they say would happen?
They kind of said it was going to go not flat, but we wouldn't have as many people
Okay.
leaving. So we'll have to see if that's true. I believe school choice is next. So we currently have 145 school choice students. As you can see, we only opened 32 last year. That's because we ended up closing classroom sections, so we didn't have enough spots. But we don't have 145 students. They're spread out throughout the district, so you can't get rid of a classroom teacher with just school choice students. So it's all spread out with them.
So it's just that they tell us what they're gonna pay and that's
Yeah.
it? Okay. Thank you.
Questions?
Yeah. School choice, once again. Just the, yeah. Did you want to go back, Lisa?
Yeah, I just wanted to see it.
This is a receiving enrollment?
Yeah, so remember, we declined by approximately 20 students.
Okay.
So, and we're a year behind, right, on the funding. So next year, our school choice money will be not a lot, but will be lower.
Okay.
And we had a lot of students with special needs. A lot of those students have left, so we won't get that reimbursement either.
Oh,
So we do believe.
And you
we should-
another question on that. You don't get that money this year, it'd be next year's, right?
Correct.
So you have to build a budget to
Correct.
plan for that, yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't see the receiving funds till the following year.
I added this just because.
Well, let's,
Oh,
I
go
just want
ahead.
to clarify that quickly. So what happens is, we don't know the amount for school choice, but October 1st is when all of the enrollment data is due to DESI. They go through this process up until like right around December, which they're really late this year because they haven't done it yet, but they basically adjudicate who is, who's coming and who's going from what districts so that they can basically adjust the school choice numbers. So we really don't know what it's going to be until usually the third week of December. Right now, we're in February and we still don't have the number
We
yet.
still
but
don't have it, wow.
yeah, but we do get it that year, but we just don't know what it is until halfway through the year.
So classrooms, we eliminated a bunch of teachers at Jabesh last year. We eliminated 25 positions since FY21. We look for grants. We're moving from expensive PCs to cheaper Chromebooks. Last year, we closed Tadrill and relocated IT staff, and as you all know, we're closing Cold Springs at the end of this year. Class size, average size. This is a little difficult for the middle school and high school right now because of electives and classes that are being offered, but we gave you the average class sizes.
So the average right now for the high school is 17?
Yeah, those are your core classes.
Okay. And, okay, and there it is, so middle school is 20.3.
Yeah.
Okay.
We added this because students per teacher, we put a little note, Belchertown student-teacher ratio has been consistently above state average with the layoffs in 2024. The difference between Belchertown and the state average rose to 1.3, highest disparity since 2010 and 11. I think this is the important slide for a lot of us in the education world. We know that numbers are going down, but student needs are going up. The number of English language learners that we have are starting to stabilize, but we have a lot of newcomers, so they need a lot more support than someone who's considered a level 4, meaning they can speak English, to the best of their ability. Newcomers, there's no English, there's no nothing, so we have to translate. We have to have paras with them, we have to do all that, and we're getting a lot more newcomers. We only have 2 L teachers for the district-wide. We used to have, according to DESI, but it's a lot of time that we go to the homes, counselors are going to homes, the attendance nurse is going to home. As you know, mental and behavioral health continues. We need more counseling, crisis intervention. More kids are being sent to the ER. More kids are being placed out in facilities until they're evaluated. And then, as you know, our student performance in MCAS, language arts, actually kind of doing better. Math, we know. We're looking at new instructional resource materials, but once again, we need targeted instruction for them, part of DESI, saying before you go to special education, you're supposed to do these things within the classroom.
So, 2 questions. Do you know the percentage increase for the number of students for whom English language is not there?
I can get you those numbers.
Yeah, just to get an understanding.
That's a great question.
The mental and behavioral health needs, are there health services beyond the school? I know that, this is a problem. This is beyond the school. I know that, this is a problem. So I'm assuming it's a problem here too.
It is a problem. I will tell you, many people don't understand this, but when we go to hearings with the Bureau of Special Education and DESI, they ask us, what have we done in the home before they make a ruling? So they're actually encouraging us to go into the homes, doing an FBA within the home, which is a functional behavior assessment of what the parent can do, having counselors work with those parents. That has been a huge increase. And if we didn't do those things, that the high school going to families, trying to get them to school, trying to work with them, our attendance nurse. And unfortunately, if we don't do something, it's going to come back on the district that we are in non-compliance. So we're trying our best.
I think I know the answer is, does the state provide any funding or any programming or anything, or are they just doing the mandate and expecting the school to
Exactly.
be social worker, teacher,
Exactly.
Mentor, all of that?
Exactly.
Okay.
And
Aren't some of those rules changing too? Or
I'm sorry?
Isn't some of those criteria for like those behavior students changing in the schools? So it's gonna like drive up costs in a sense?
Yeah, so I think you're referring to the timeout regulations
Yes, there you
and we'll call it timeout.
Yeah.
Currently, right now, if we use timeout rooms for students that have behavior emotional issues, there has to be a window on the door, you can't have outlets, anything that. The new regulation is, and they do say, let me out, and that's as they're spitting and swearing and kicking the door. As of next year, I believe it is, if they say, I want to come out, you have to let them out.
Okay.
So that means, in my opinion, we're going to have more physical restraints because they're going to go after students. They're going to run around the schools. You're going to get more people injured because the more restraints you do, there's always a chance of someone getting hurt. You hope not. But unless you have parent permission and a counselor or a doctor, and it's written into the IEP, you have to let them go. Now, people have different opinions on that. I'm very confident that in Belchertown, we have what we need to have.
Yep.
We don't restrain at the high school. If we're restraining at the high school, they don't belong in public schools, to be
Okay.
honest with you. But Swift River, Chestnut Hill, and Jabesh, and I know Tom's here too. Tom has a quiet room. It's getting a little shady if you're going to be holding a middle school student. However, we are trained in it. We need to do it if someone's a safety issue. But that's going to be it's going to be a huge problem for schools in the future.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
sure.
That's just good information. Any other?
And then we always talked about this, and then we wanted to be fair too we brought this up last year, FY24, because that's the data we have per pupil is 23,000. That placed us in the 6th percentile, 94%. With the override, we estimated the 800 for the per pupil expenditure. So that would bring us up to the 89th percentile on there. And that's on the 1.6 for the schools. So this budget that we did, no new positions. We had to have some opportunities for flexibility. We reduced 15 additional positions in order to accommodate the pre-K to 8 realignment. We reduced operational maintenance costs. We reduced instructional materials. And we used the lowest possible estimated annual increases. If we didn't have information, we just took the lowest. So we weren't. So as always, we have our federal and state grants. Just want to point out that we still added the DFC grant there, but the opioid committee was very gracious to do the 125 for this year because the grant.
Anything could
Look at the
change.
government, right? And I just want to give a shout out to Jess and Aileen and Bo and everybody they do amazing things on that drug-free community grant. And I know you've all seen it around.
It's amazing.
We house it, we oversee financials. help out in any way, but it's really Chris. And Chris, Aileen, Sean, they all went to DC for the conference.
Yeah,
They
that's
just got
right.
back, they brought some students, so that was a great
I'll have to check in with
turnout,
them.
so. This is part of Sean's position as the assistant superintendent. All the other ones that we saw were entitlement grants. This is a competitive grant, so he's like our grant writer. So he's brought in $2.2 million since FY20. We're always looking for grants. This is our school budget plan.
School choice.
School choice, sorry. You've heard me say this before, whatever you think of school choice, good, bad, indifferent, it is operational costs for us right now, oil, water, electricity, computers. There are some positions in there. Our resource officer, the town's grounds person, a couple of teaching positions. Once again, we have to offset through tuitions. So that is our projected school choice budget plan. So I just wanted to break out for my committee and certainly any of you if you have any questions. So Cold Spring School. We always said we would save about $500,000 that we're not asking for in this budget because of the plan of Cold Springs and reorganizing. So, which we all knew, but that's the savings we came up with.
The 433 savings, is that, does that include positions, or is it like a combination
Those
of
are all
positions?
positions.
Only positions, okay.
Yeah, and the position, so I just want to show you the positions at Cold Spring are 418, and then the positions, that should really say 1 through 8 is an additional 433.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and I think
What is that again? Because I was wondering why there were two different numbers.
so this is just the savings for Cold Springs staff.
Okay, yeah,
And then this is staff 1 to 8.
okay.
Okay, so remember in the override discussion, we had said, you know, if we had one more year, it would allow us to prioritize. We were able to put in a number of one-year positions only. So people at the end, come June, we already told them they're not working for us.
Okay,
So
that's great.
technically, so far right now, and as you know, things can change, we only have a half-time person out of a job. Everybody else will remain having a job. So that's a good thing.
Yes.
We're not looking at the layoffs. And actually, there's a correction on here. The FY26, that 35,480 should be the 35,544 because we ended up getting some money afterwards according to, remember we got that and that was our final number. So
After the ST.
yeah, so the 36, that's right, we're asking for 36,331,226, which is about 2.4%, which is, we could project what FY 28 and 29 would look like, but we didn't really have numbers, so we just put in some percentages just to give an estimate, but
Okay.
that's,
Can we go back one slide? So you're, let me just make sure you have, okay, yeah, so you're putting in for a 7.23% increase on the benefits? Was that before you heard what we're facing of 15 to 20%, or are you comfortable with that number?
no, we're comfortable with that number.
Okay.
And just so you know, the 7,000 is the lease on the new truck that we have. That's why it increased. And tuitions, once again, it is. I always think what Nicole says, in a good way, it's you know, sometimes it's luck, you know,
Yeah.
when kids move out or don't come in, but we have a couple of kids graduating and are aging out, so as of right now, our tuitions are down for out of district.
Maybe I shouldn't bring this up, but does this include like contract negotiations? So all that stuff's in there.
So does that lower this amount right here, BPS, a little bit with the change in the,
No, because I think Jill calculated it with her number.
okay.
Well, Brian, this represents a lot of hard work, and I know it's not just you. So thank you for this quick report that you
Documents at this time, unless there's something the board wants to talk about. Any
Well, I
questions
think
from
what we want
finance
to do
committee or
is,
school
this was
committee?
basically to put everything out there. Like, here's all the information, and then to develop what our agenda is for the next meeting. If there are specific things that school wants to talk about, let me know. And Steve. And I think Nicole has the right idea. Let's maybe do a doodle poll and see if we can come up with a date we can all meet. And without further ado, unless there's anybody else has anything to say online.
I think it's important though that we see the numbers too with the 40%, like Nicole said earlier.
Oh, no, we
On
want
both
that.
sides. I just want to make sure we just see it and just do the right thing.
Absolutely, the 40 and the 50, and also the percentages that we talked about, that in your report for students with,
Newcomers.
yeah, the two, okay, and was there anything else that we asked for?
No, that was the agenda.
No, I mean, just for
follow-ups.
this meeting. Brian, anything? Okay, well, without further ado, do you want to, oh, it's just us, right? Or do you have a quorum?
I do, and I do have a question for
Oh.
for our committee.
Okay,
Now that I do, and I do have a question for
oh,
our committee.
okay.
Now that we've got the numbers, do we want to set a meeting? While we're all here.
We're out of access.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Jill's not available on Wednesdays, which we originally planned, so we have to change that.
Could I just maybe ask that we adjourn the meeting and that you can talk? Okay, great. So do you want to adjourn the meeting?
I said aye.
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 Thank you. All right. Thanks, everybody.